So, hello everyone. My name is Nikolay Markov. I'm solution architect at Critical Services Center of Excellence at SoftServe, more specifically Cloud and DevOps unit. I've been working more than 15 years in the IT industry. My main focus is helping organizations adopt the cloud, get all the benefit, transform their way of doing the business, and do that in the right way. Previously, I was leading the Cloud Center of Excellence team in the second largest clinical research organization of 25,000 people. And today, we'll talk a little bit more about the cloud adoption challenges. So, I know that we are at the end of 2022. And this topic shouldn't make any sense, right? A lot of organizations should already adopt the cloud, but it's still something new for a lot of businesses, even including large organizations and some IT companies which are even born in the cloud, right? This makes the cloud adoption a challenge and could lead in slow, inefficient, and sometimes even unsuccessful journey at the end. So in the next couple of slides, I'll try to help you with this by providing some, let's say, fundamentals, and we'll summarize some different perspectives of the most important steps that you need to take in your cloud adoption journey in order to not fall off some very, let's say, bad pitfalls. And you may think that there's no, chance to have one solution or framework that fit all companies. But keep in mind that the fundamentals actually are the same for all organizations. And even if there's some inconsistency, you can easily translate them to meet your organizational culture. Also, it's very important to understand that even that you may be looking for specific cloud, it would be good to have a look at all cloud adoption framework provided by the major cloud providers like AWS, Microsoft, GCP, because you may find some different depth on the specific steps, different point of views, and I can give some example. You can learn in details about how to prepare your strategy, how to have a strategy which meet business requirements from the Microsoft CAF in very good details. I can give great example for the cloud adoption framework from Google, which put a lot of attention of how to build solid cloud center of excellence team and why that is very important. At the same time, AWS is, I would say, the older provider. They have a lot of examples of challenges that you may face during this journey. So it definitely worth to have a look at all three. It's important to understand that cloud is not just another data center. I've seen during the years a lot of executives would just don't pay enough attention to what's all about. They just think that this is like some project of, I'll have the opportunity to migrate my workloads, and will pay only for, I don't have to deal much with my physical infrastructure, but they do not understand the actual importance of such an initiative. It's pretty similar with the digital transformation, because adopting the cloud, we can consider that it will be digital transformation. It may transform your organization if you do it the right way. That's the most important thing, if you do it the right way. If you don't do it, of course, it can be very good another data center, which may have more capabilities than your current data center. It may have, it may have better security even. But it's still. And the important thing to understand here is that the actual digital transformation itself is not about technology. It's much more than technology. It's about culture, about changing the mindset of the people working in your organization. So, what's all about? As I just mentioned, it's a common mistake that people treat the cloud as just another technology or data center that they have to take care of. However, as I said, it's much more. It's a new way of doing business, and helps it helps for the organization to understand that in nowadays IT is not a cost center anymore. It's actually business enabler. So the cloud adoption framework brings together people, process, and technology in order to achieve business goals by providing detailed guidance in each of these areas. In that case, you'll be able to deliver fast results, but at the same time have the control and stability. And speaking for speed and control, usually people think that speed is opposite to control and stability, right? And quality. However, we know that nowadays in software development, actually speed is increasing the quality, because you can demand shorter provisioning time for your services in order to decrease the level of automation and reduce the defect due to human error, right? And when we automate tasks, the immediate benefit which we achieved is confidence. And confidence brings speed, because when people are confident of doing something and the result is always the same, they don't afraid to do it, right? They just do it. So yeah, I get an example today for Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework, but as I said, on a high level, it's all cloud adoption framework. It's pretty similar. They just have some minor differences. So, what is cloud adoption framework? In general, it's just the best practices and guidance gathered by the cloud vendors, from customers and partners during the years. So you get, let's say, very well summarized information and very clear path which you can follow. So before 2019, there were multiple approaches. I would say the documentation, it wasn't that streamlined, and it was much harder to navigate and use the documentation provided by the vendors. I'm not saying that nowadays is easy, but it's much easier. And in nowadays you have a lot of use cases which there's a big chance to match your specific needs, and will help you to get the expected results from such a journey. So as you see here, we have different stages. Of course, everything starts with defining the cloud strategy, which in short is to find the whys. Why we are moving and adopting the cloud, what we are trying to achieve, how we will measure that. It's crucial to define business justifications to support these motivations. And it's also very important to select the first project for such initiative. When we have solid cloud strategy, we can start working on the plan. The plan how to execute this strategy. By gathering our digital estate, align the strategy with our organization, prepare the organization for this migration adoption, evaluate the current and future skills needed to execute this strategy, and finally combine all of this into a cloud adoption plan. So now we have the cloud adoption plan, which drives the cloud. Actually, we have the cloud adoption strategy, which drives the cloud adoption plan. And cloud adoption plan is driving the next phase in our journey, which is preparing our cloud environment for our workloads. Here we are working on the landing zone design and everything necessary in order to make it a good fit for our specific use case. We may need just one landing zone and operate following the central operations model, or we may need to have multiple landing zones and follow the enterprise scale operations model. Or we may start with the first and then plan to scale to the second. All of this is very well documented in the Microsoft website. So we have clear path based on our use case. So when we have our cloud environment ready, we start to adopt our workloads. And here we have two available options to migrate them, following, in most cases, lift and shift scenario, which is usually the case where you do not have enough time or business justification to modernize your prem application or to innovate by modernize your workloads and allow them to take all the advantages of the cloud capabilities. And in other options is to innovate and actually take the opportunity to bring our applications to, let's say, next level. These phases are all surrounded by the governance and managed domains, where we define some of the full base grounds, how we'll operate, how we'll secure, how we'll be taking care of our environment. So our focus today would be the first two stages. And the reason for that is because actually the majority of organizations, it doesn't matter small or large, are skipping this. And the main reason is, of course, is driven by business. And usually, based on my experience, I would say that more than 90% of the organizations that I've been working with and talking with colleagues, they just skip the first two. They just jump into the cloud, and because the business demands that. And the IT teams don't have time to prepare for this and to do it right. So even for small, very modern startups, right? What's important for the startup? It's important for the startup to have, this MVP, the product, to have all the functional requirements, to be ready, to get customers, to get some funding. It's important to be secured. It's important to have some governance, but in the majority of use cases, this is omitted. What happens in such scenarios? If the startup is successful, at some point, startup become large organization and start paying attention to important things like cost optimizations, like resource consistency, like appropriate security, appropriate identity, like ways to accelerate its deployment, reducing time to market. And usually at this stage, the organization is so big that this require enormous amount of effort. Other cases, most popular, are when large organization are migrating to cloud. They're usually, again, the business came with some requirements which they can't meet, and actually the business came with ready solution. Someone from the business saw, hey, if we can do this in the cloud, it will save us this amount of money, or we will reduce our time to market with such time, or we'll save this and this effort. We want it. We don't care. If you can't do it, we'll do it by ourselves. And what happened? We don't have strategy. We don't have plan, but the business wanted. We are even not ready. And we adopt the cloud. We jump directly to the fourth phase. At some point, hopefully there is no incident, no breaches, but organization realize that we have to do a lot of work in order to make everything secure, to have some control of our spendings there. Maybe we can even stop using these virtual machines for everything. We can even start using some of the modern services. And yeah, so that's the reason why we'll focus on the first two. And that's why they're so important. I'm not saying that they're the most important, but yeah, they're really important. This one, this is also important part. Again, if you don't have lifecycle strategy, and you are meeting this important phase, it's in the end you will not going to meet your business requirement, and actually you may have just another data center. That's why it's really important to follow the formal approach. That's why it's you already have it for free, right? You just need to spend some time to learn it, and also there's a lot of partners like SoftSet which can help with that. And also there's a lot of funding programs for Microsoft. Microsoft really want organization to be successful in their cloud adoption journey. They don't want the organization to have uncontrolled spending. Yeah, for them it's important to spend your money, but not only Microsoft, AWS and GCP, for them it's more important to have this long-term relationship where organizations are happy. That's why they are putting so much effort in having this cloud adoption framework. As I said, some of the potential pitfalls from lacking of strategy. Again, the most popular, it's a higher cost. I can give you a ridiculous example. Last year on the Microsoft Ignite, I was participating in one of their roundtables, and I was shocked as on this roundtable. By the way, roundtables are specific events where the product team from Microsoft are looking for feedback from direct customers for different products that they have. So this was focused entirely on the management of the cost and actual solutions in the Azure for like having budget, alarms, etc. And the majority of the people in this roundtable, they was complaining a lot. They said that I don't know why I'm spending so much money. I can see that, and that's why it clearly shows to everybody, to myself and to the Microsoft guys, that probably they don't pay much attention, and also maybe there's some things for improvement from Microsoft side, to provide better way of showing how much it will cost specific solution. But this would be the first example of not having a strategy, so higher cost. Also, not having standards or decisions framework, the lack of reuse already prepared solution, it will turn in actually, I like to say it like I want adoption. So it means that different teams adopt the cloud. There is no some central team which helps with building these fundamentals, these standards. And in the end, as I said, usually this happens, and these are business units. They're not even IT units, because if the IT units can't meet their needs, they don't care. They want to, for business is always much more important than the IT. So they'll go and get it. And this will result in much more unnecessary effort within the organization if it's specific, let's say, services, or actually the quality is adopted by specific units without having overall control. And again, at the end, it will not meet or delay the business outcomes. Usually once they realize that we're missing the strategy and the planning phase, they go back, they start fixing, and believe me, but in the majority of time, our work is just to fix cloud adoptions and build these fundamentals in already adopted cloud with the waterfall quotes, etc. Of course, that's also true. If we can't have a bad strategy when we don't have strategy, but actually this is the worst case. And that's why let's dive deeper. The first and really fundamental step, which is to define the strategy. So it's really important to understand the first step is to understand the motivation. Then we have to understand what are our expectations, what would be the business outcomes. After that, we also have to have this justification to do the entire exercise, right, from the business. And then we'll have to identify the suitable project for this. So starting with the understanding the motivations. Apologize. So motivations could be different. It could be critical business events, such as end of support of some mission critical technologies. This reminds me, my old versions of Microsoft SQL or Windows Server, which if you migrate to the cloud, you continue to get security updates, for example. It could also be gaining some industry compliance standards, right? Because in the cloud, it would be much easier because all clouds are actually have let's say 95% of these standards. And it could be also part of some acquisitions. This is all critical business events. There could be also some migration triggers. For example, we may have our own data center that we managed everything, and sometimes it's not very cost effective. So we would like to have some cost saving, and we would like to migrate to the cloud. It's also maybe some people which are from with IT administration background may remember these compatibility matrices between the multiple vendors in the past, which also could be very good motivator to migrate to the cloud. And there could be increasing of business agility, so to have more agile environment, etc. And also there could be innovation triggers that can motivate us to migrate to the cloud. Innovation triggers are more often for fields where actually innovations make the biggest difference. I would say nowadays it's important to be big, but it's much more important to be fast. So innovation triggers could be scale to meet the market geographic demands, because with the cloud it's really easy to get your solution around the globe with few clicks. And also with the innovation triggers, one important thing is that you get all the benefit of the cloud platforms and the speed of growing and innovation of these cloud platforms. When you put on these cloud platforms your solution, if you this will boost your solution at least. And if you work and try to make your solution integrated with the cloud and get as much as possible cloud native services, actually your solution will evolve with the cloud platform. So the next is to identify business outcomes. So it's great that we have some motivation. We want to, expand our reach by, let's say, going different continent regions, but the business really want to see how this will impact the business. So the business outcomes could be fiscals, right? So this will mean that they will get more increased revenue, or we may have some savings, and also it could be the cloud can help us with the faster provisioning of new features, and it may reduce our time to market. As I mentioned, global access, customer engagement, so it may help to meet our customer expectation. It can also help even to have better performance of our solution. We already mentioned that security and compliance is still important business outcome, because it can help to gain additional trust within the clouds, especially in some fields. As you know, it's like fundamental to have specific compliance standards in place. So business justification, actually it sounds something not that important, but keep in mind that let's say the stakeholders, the people that are driving these cloud migrations and cloud adoptions, they don't understand usually from technology much. And right, and for them it's important to to have some business justification, right? There's some formulas like this one, how to calculate return of investment. However, this is, I would say, very challenged and complex exercise. However, I highly encourage you to put more attention on that if you'd like to convenient your organization and your senior executive from the business why we're doing that, because as I said, they understand more of this and not from technology standpoint. So after that, we have to identify the first project. So in general, the first project should not be, let's say, some critical application or critical solution in our portfolio. But at the same time, it should not be something that nobody's using, right? We just have it and someone sometimes using it. It should be something in the middle. And it's also important, it's very important to align with your motivations for cloud adoption criteria, because actually this would be the project which will prove a lot of things, a lot of actually things that we already defined. It will also help your team to get experience, some hands-on experience, to face some challenges, to understand how to overcome these challenges. So, but you also should, should clearly have, you clearly should be able to measure the progress toward the agreed business outcome. So as you see here in the example, there's some, again, critical business events, it could be used as Azure site recovery, and it's dev test environment is something very, I would say, the most common use case. So organizations start migrating their dev test environment. First, this is the use case where we have large organizations which are adopting the cloud, not the small startups which are born there. So, and we are moving to the next important phase, as I said. So in terms of plan, we have to align our organization as first. So people should understand why we are migrating to the cloud. Then we should rationalize our digital estate to understand the best approach to cloud adoption. Then we have to think about the skills that may be needed, the new skills that we may don't have it. So we have to prepare some kind of plan, specifically where we will map the current skills to the new skills. And all of these combined will help us to prepare a detailed cloud adoption plan. Starting with the organizational alignment. So, as I said, it's really important people to understand why we are moving to the cloud. What would be the benefits? It's important to understand that even that we really want to adopt the cloud fast, but we have to have this adoption in controlled manner in order to get expected business outcomes and not falling in any pitfalls. So that's why it's, as I mentioned earlier, this balance between speed and control is important here. It's also important that, again, putting more effort of helping different teams to understand that their roles will just change. As you see in the next slide, usually in the large enterprises, what's happened, this is, I would say, one of the top 3 problems of the large organization, is that the people, the IT teams are working in silos. This is killing the main benefit, one of the main benefits of the digital transformation and the cloud adoption, which is speed. Because they first need to understand that they have to work together with that, right? Because this will not going to work. So, as you see, if we are following and continue to work in our old way, as we've been working before, again, this will be just another data center, or which will not bring the business outcomes that we expected, the impact to our organization. The next step is to rationalize our digital estate. So this is a process of evaluating our current application and understanding what would be the most suitable, let's say, way of migrating into the cloud. It may be just lift and shift. It could be, replatforming. We may just do some changes to the organization. So there is some incremental approach or power of 10, where we could select, let's say, the first 10 most suitable applications that would be best candidate to migrate. And after this exercise, we will have which are the application, how we'll plan to migrate them to the cloud. Also, what kind of tool we're going to use, because not only Azure, but the other vendors provide different tools of migrate to the cloud. It could be how to migrate your data. Right now, there is even solutions which can have direct connectivity between the cloud. So, for example, if you have some Oracle environment, you still can migrate your Oracle-dependent solutions to the cloud and have direct connectivity between the clouds. Then it's skills readiness plan. So here in large organizations, again, we have people which had, let's say, different, they've been doing their job in different way. For the cloud, they will need new skills. So again, it's really important. Communication is crucial here. They really need to understand that nothing bad will happen, nothing scary, because people usually are afraid of things that they don't know. So you have, before moving forward, you have to prepare pretty good plan with details, how these people can get the necessary skills in order to measure in order to meet the expectations and to be able to work actually in this new way with the cloud. We also have to think about preparing clean training paths. Until nowadays, there's very well-established training vendors which can help, even including the actual cloud vendors, which can help with reskilling your team. Here is one really important topic. I put it called center of excellence role here because this is also, it should also happen at this stage. Because I've seen a lot of organizations which meeting that. And the majority, the main reason is because they just, as I said, they don't put the necessary attention to such a project. So Cloud Center of Excellence is, it could be separate topic, but I'll try to be short with that. It's in order to build the Cloud Center of Excellence unit within your organization, you should find the right people first. So some organizations try to do that with a logical team, but others doing this with a dedicated team. The concept of logical team is that, as you can expect, always the production environment would have higher priority than any initiative in the Cloud Center of Excellence role. So Cloud Center of Excellence role play crucial role in the cloud adoption because this team is actually a combination of the best people in your organization within the different IT teams. It could not even be an IT team. And these teams actually established the fundamentals and built, they provided the all input for building and planning the adoption and the strategy of the cloud, and the strategy and the actual adoption. So this team really should be your best people. It should be dedicated people. It should have enthusiasm. And it should not be a large team as well, as you know, the two-pizza team. This team actually will promote the cloud within the organization. So they should be well recognized, and they should have enough empowerment from the leadership, right? Also, they should be autonomous. I really love, as I said at the beginning, Google provided some very nice document how to build successful Cloud Center of Excellence. And what I love is, I'll say one quote from this document is, the most significant measure of success of Cloud Center of Excellence is successful to the extent that it successfully drives cloud adoption. If employees feel that the cloud COE is collaborative and that it helps facilitate cloud deployment and usage, they will be more likely to use its services to work together in building better technology, process, and culture. What this said? It's said that it's really important these people to have not only technical skills, but to have very good human knowledge as most popular soft skills. Be able to communicate well, should be people that the others are happy to work with. Because even if you're the best guy within the organization, if you can communicate well with the people, it doesn't matter. They will just not want to work with you. And actually what you're providing them, like this great opportunity of adopting the cloud and bring the business to another level, they just don't like to work with you. And at the end, we'll have cloud adoption plan. Actually, some vendors provide even automated solutions where you can generate such a plan. You can track your progress based on all these specifications that I mentioned. But again, I'll combine all of these previous steps. As I said, part of the planning phase will turn down in the cloud adoption plan. Leadership role, yeah. As you guessed, this is one of the most important thing in any such a large initiative. That's actually the reason, as I said in the beginning, is sometimes it's not very successful because actually the leadership doesn't pay much attention to it. I will use another citate here. So I remember when Andy Jassy said on 2019 AWS reInvent that the single biggest differentiator between those who talk a lot about the cloud and those who have actual success is the senior leadership team's conviction that they want to take the organization to the cloud. It's not enough to think it's a good idea. It's not enough to talk about it. It's not enough to get a few of your leaders to agree with you. So this kind of organization, in order to be successful, should start from the top of the organization. I'm not saying that if you are not CIO, CIO, CTO, or VP, you don't have much chance. Actually, you have chance to help these guys understand the importance of such initiative, the importance why it's important to do it right, what will save, and what could be the missed opportunity if we're not treating it with the respect which it deserves. So, if you can remember one thing from today's presentation, remember what I mentioned at the beginning, that cloud adoption and digital transformation is not about the technologies. It's about the people, the mindset, the culture of the organization.
You said a lot about obstacles, and I'm curious, which of these problems we're facing during the development of the strategy is most dangerous, and what the most important, how we can react when they appear?
So again, it's we have to, in order to be successful, we should follow. It would be best to follow the formal approaches. Yes, it's again, as I said before, we may omit, let's say, the business justification, the business outcome, but it doesn't make any sense, right? How we'll be able to measure our success, right? If we don't have business outcomes. And the same is with if we don't have motivation. Why we should go in the cloud, right? It doesn't make any sense. So it may be, some of the organization may have this, how to say, without documented it, without think about it, right? But when you have it documented, it would be much easier to measure, to measure your success in such an initiative, to understand, actually, I was doing good, or I wasn't able to meet these outcomes that I was expected with the cloud, right? What I've done wrong, okay? And you can step back and see what you've done wrong. So to answer your question, I think that all of the items formal approach of having business outcomes, motivation, business justification, and also to have to choose the first project. I think that all of them are really, really important and crucial in order to have a solid strategy.
Okay, thank you. And maybe you can get some tips how to talk with business about this, how IT crew should prepare themselves to talk to the business.
So yeah, this is also interesting question. Thanks for that. First of all, I would suggest majority of what I see is that majority of tech guys don't pay much attention to the non-tech skills. So as I said within the presentation, it's really important people from the business to want to work with you, right? So how to talk with the business, you should try to improve your communication skills. Because this phrase that we are not here to be friends, right? We are here to do business, right? But if we are friends, or at least we are happy to see each other, probably we'll do our business much better, right? So yeah, be more polite, trying to show them, trying to escape from this pure technical stuff, right? The business don't understand the technical stuff. Trying to map each of these technical capabilities that the cloud can provide to business outcomes, things that are important for the business. And again, this may sound like not an easy exercise, but again, cloud vendors provide very well documented approaches for that, even though there are some templates from some of the vendors. As I said, there are some use cases which are specifically focused on this business, this communication with the business, and identifying actually the business outcomes and justification.